Good morning, everybody. Brad Hebner here with CALSSA, and I'm just sort of teeing up the various presentations, but we have a lot of great stuff coming to you from our different presenters, and we'll jump right in. There's lots of info to get into. You don't need me to tell you that these are strange times, and I think a lot of businesses are probably rethinking how to do what they do and do it differently to deal with the current situation. So we thought we'd bring these folks together and talk about online leads, how to use online leads and how to follow up on leads more effectively, how to manage projects with new software tools, and then how to just read the market and position yourselves and figure out what to focus on. So lots of those types of themes coming today, and hope it's useful. So Verse is the first company. We also have Active Prospect, Enact Systems, BayWa, and Cross Consulting. 5 CALSSA members that provide great services to the industry. Verse is up first. David Tal. David, take it away. Let us know what we got.
All right. Hello, everybody. Can everybody see my screen? Just a quick yes from Brad.
Yep. Looks good.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. It's really good to be here. I appreciate being asked to participate, and appreciate everything that your association is doing for the shared industry that we all love to work with and serve. So thank you. I'll jump right in here. My section that I'm going to be covering is all about capitalizing on consumer communication trends and preferences to book more appointments with your leads and with your prospects that you're generating. Just real quick about me, I'm the CEO here at Verse, and we've worked with tens of millions of leads for industry-leading companies, many solar companies for many years. I've been a contributor and a panelist, for many publications, for at different events and expos, and we publish a lot of our insights from Verse because we work with so many different kinds of companies. We publish those with the industries at large as well to really share what we're learning. And so I'm happy to share some stuff here with you today. Real quick, just to kick things off, I saw this article CALSSA posted just last week, and obviously we've all felt the short-term impact in California solar. Jobs have been lost. A lot of businesses have been impacted. 92% of solar and storage businesses are reporting negative impacts. Of course, there's layoffs and furloughs, and this has been felt really kind of nationwide and in multiple different markets, of course, residential, non-residential. However, there is real pent-up demand and for solar, and a rebound is absolutely imminent and already starting to happen in many markets. In California, PG&E is finally cooperating. Solar is seen as a cost savings measure, and we work with all sorts of different industries. So real estate, where real estate agents can't go out and show properties, that's really suffered right now, and that's more of a purchase, a different type of an investment. But in solar, people look for solar as a savings, and so it's actually, the demand is stronger than ever from everything that we're seeing, and a lot of the companies we're working with in solar are starting to double and triple the traffic they're seeing. So as the economy shrinks or weakens, people start to look, hey, where can I save? That's why we see a lot of activity in the refi market as well, right? As people go to take advantage of low rates and save money. And with electricity bills rising as much as they have, especially with people at home, people are taking more notice. So the question isn't, is the future bright for solar? It's more than ever. But solar companies need to be ready because the competition is going to be absolutely fierce to grab these customers. Once one is sold on solar, it's hard to replace that, right? They're kind of taken out of the equation for years. So let's talk about leads. We all have them. We all generate them. There are these leads forms, and we grab first name, last name, email, phone. But it's what happens after a lead is received, and it's all about what are you doing after a lead is generated to truly convert it into an opportunity for your company or for your team. Leads are just a pathway to potential opportunities. And leads that are not engaged quickly, responded to, followed up on long term if they don't respond right away, and catered to through multiple channels, not just cold calling or emails, are going to have the highest traction and conversion rates. We see that companies waste half of their opportunities or more failing to simply engage those web leads properly. And the reason for this is consumer preferences have changed. It's simple. The way customers want to be communicated with has changed. Virtually every business that buys or is generating leads does a poor job of engaging, qualifying, and nurturing their prospects. I think you can all probably look at your own lead funnel and start to just think through what exactly is it we do as soon as a lead is generated. Sorry, my screen went away. Give me one sec. There we go. What is my funnel like when a lead is generated? You know, ask yourself that. A lead comes in, what happens? How quickly is someone responding to it? What happens if a lead comes in after hours? What happens if they don't respond? Or am I just calling them? Am I just emailing them? Have I leveraged SMS? Ask yourself where those holes are. When you put that against the statistics that 48% of businesses can't even respond within 24 hours. 40% of web leads come in after hours when most people are not staffing to engage those prospects. And most salespeople are focused on, you know, the newest leads that were just generated. They make a few attempts and they move on to the next one because there's new ones coming in all day long. And how do you just keep going through the backlog and continue to follow up with that? And consumers want to communicate on their own time and terms, and that is primarily via text message. It's not everyone, but primarily via text message. All the data signals and our own data that the vast majority, 89% of consumers prefer to start the communication via text message. They can do it on their own time and terms, not when you're calling them and expecting them to drop everything. They could be multitasking, which we live in that type of a world. They can get back to you an hour later and keep the conversation going. And 98% of text messages are read compared to just 22% of emails. And 90% of those texts are read within 3 minutes. But the statistic that is baffling and not surprising anymore is that 87% of people simply do not answer the phone from numbers they don't know. And what you may find, which is what a lot of our partners would find, was that if you just pound with phone call after phone call after phone call, and if you finally do get a hold of somebody, they're usually not in the greatest of moods. So sentiment, just because you got a hold of them, the sentiment isn't there for them to start giving you information and moving down to the next step. So allowing SMS to be there to guide is really helpful. And for the sentiment of the conversation. But SMS is not easy. It's difficult to manage two-way SMS 24/7, 365. There's real complexities in integrating into tech platforms and current CRMs. And it is expensive if you don't leverage the power of automation or AI to carry a lot of the lift. If it's all human powered, A, you're not going to be staffed for it when all the leads are coming in, and two, or in B, I should say, it is very, very costly and does not always pencil out. And so you have to figure out how to leverage the best of automation and AI. And there's certainly tools out there to do a lot of that. And you should look into how can you leverage SMS? How can your team start handling some of that SMS, either internally or leveraging other services out there? The benefits of SMS speak for themselves. We see 40 to 70% higher engagement rates with SMS as a way to really be able to get a hold of the customer you just generated, communicate with them, ask them a few questions by text, and then book them for a solar appointment where you can give them an on-site quote or over the phone. 30 to 50% more appointments scheduled. And the other effects that come from it is much happier sales teams. They're not running around chasing after people. Most of the people they're talking to are more primed and ready to go, higher conversion rates, and you lower your overall lead gen costs when you really calculate, well, what is my cost per solar quote? If you speak to more people, your cost per quote will go down, right? All your metrics will go in the right direction. I'll just quickly, shamelessly plug what we do, but rather leave time for questions or for future presenters. So I'll make this super quick. What we do at Verse is we are a modern day contact center, and we are 100% focused on lead conversion. We are US based. We SMS, phone, and email contact customers. We qualify them and we book appointments. We do this with a lot of AI and automation, coupled with real skilled representatives that help carry conversations forward. When the AI or the machine does not know how. We're working with companies across the spectrum, lots of big solar companies, across the spectrum, dozens and dozens of solar companies, and seeing huge conversion rates. And just what I'll just end with is just a very recent case study we did with Sunline Energy in California. Little case study. If anyone's interested in this, email me after. I'll send it to you so you can kind of get a sense for how the conversations go when we're qualifying leads. Sunline has a lot of leads they were generating. They couldn't get a hold of many of them, and so they hired Verse to help them with that. And we start text conversations. We follow up when people don't respond. We follow up with multiple text emails. We can make calls. Finally, someone responds on day 5, and we kick off questions, back and forth questions, asking them, hey, do you own your home or rent? What's your average bill, etc. And then we can actually book the appointment directly for Sunline. So now Sunline can focus on generating the leads and then have Verse handle setting all the appointments much, much cheaper, more effectively, and far more profitably and effectively than any in-house team. With Sunline particularly, we lowered their internal costs of the team that was doing this by 33%, while booking almost 40% more appointments with the same volume of leads that they're already generating. Important to keep in mind, this is with the same volume, 40% more opportunities now that they're quoting people for. So I'll end there. I appreciate you giving me a minute to shamelessly plug Verse. Obviously, there was a good reason why we were interested in helping here. It's because we know a little bit about lead conversion, and we're happy to help. My info is here on the screen, david@verse.io. Happy to point you guys in the right direction or just give you tips and share any of this if you found it useful. Thank you so much, and I'll yield the rest of the time for questions if there's time, if not for the next speaker. Thank you.
That's great, David. Thanks very much. That's very interesting information. Here's one question: what is the transition from text to other means? You showed the example where you're setting up an appointment through text, and then I imagine it's just phone or video appointment, and it continues from there. But are there other ways to how do people like to transition off of text to something else?
Sure. So one of the most powerful things that I feel we do is, because we are powered by real people but leverage automation and AI, we can offer calls, and we do that through SMS, because we found that when we just made calls, very few people picked up, and when they did pick up, they just weren't ready to talk anyway. But when we send someone a text right away after their inquiry, hi Tim, this is Alex with ABC Solar, right? Here's a little example. Thanks for contacting us about solar energy. Would you prefer to chat via text message, or should I give you a quick call so that I can assist you? We're all about giving people choice, right? But we leverage SMS because they see it right away, they know what it's about, and we ask them, hey, do you rather text or do you rather call? Let me give you a quick call. So now what happens is, for the vast majority who prefer to text, we can carry that conversation forward right away and not skip a beat. And for people who say, I prefer a call, or call me in an hour, or call me now, call me tomorrow, we schedule that and we call them then, and we call them. And in our dashboard, which I'm not going too deep into, but here's kind of a dashboard that you can kind of see. You'll see when we make a call, it looks like this in the Verse dashboard. So this is text, and then they asked for a call, and we gave them a call, and it was a 14.5-minute conversation where we gathered all of the data that our solar customer wants us to ask, like, do you own or rent? What's your average bill? How soon are you looking? Have you talked to any other providers? How soon can we get out there to give you a quote on site with one of our installers? And then we book it. We're all going after the same goal: booking more appointments, booking more sales with the volume, with the traffic. Giving consumers more choice just opens up more channels where they'll communicate with us and allow for those events to happen.
Okay, great. A couple more really specific questions I'm going to try to squeeze in here. One is, are text messages TCPIA compliant?
100%. Everything we do is TCPA. We make sure that on your lead form, you are TCPA. If not, we won't work with you. So we check you as much as you might check us. This is obviously all we do, and super focused on it. So As long as your lead forms give express permission for them to be contacted via phone, SMS, email, then we're good to work with you. And if not, we recommend we give you the language to just add there to your terms, super simple, that you should have anyway if you're trying to contact them. And there's really no big difference otherwise.
And then finally,
one other thing I just want to note, Brad, is because I get this question a lot, is this just for new leads? A lot of these solar companies have a lot of new leads that are coming in that, of course, need to be worked speed to lead, but there's also a lot of aged leads, and I think it's just as important that we can help with aged leads to say, hey, you were interested in solar a few months ago or a year ago, and try to get the conversations going again.